KTRS.com.
Good morning and welcome. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. We have a good one lined up today. Lynn Venthouse talking movies and shows. I did watch Marty Supreme last night. And we have Elizabeth Lane. She's going to join us. Did you ever find out where she went to high school, by the way?
I haven't been able to find that out yet. She and I have been texting back and forth, and I didn't get that one, or emailing back and forth, so that'll be a question for us to ask. And the fun thing is her husband, who's a successful music producer in Hollywood, the two of them met in junior high in St. Louis. Now, he ended up moving. Yeah, and rekindled it. He ended up moving
6
away.
6 years later, in New York?
Yeah, either New York or L.A. I can't remember which one. So it's kind of a fun St. Louis-based story. Now a successful Hollywood TV writer and one of the most popular podcasters in the United States. Just very genuine, down to earth. I think people are going to really enjoy this. I'm obsessed with Beth's Dead. I talked about it yesterday. The limited series 8-part true crime podcast that Elizabeth is part of that tells the story of kind of a scary, interesting, wild part of her life as in the public eye, and catfishing and parasocial relationships. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, she's wildly entertaining. I heard a couple of her episodes over the last couple of days. She's fun. She's good. And she's a great guest, too. I've heard her as a guest on podcast. She's funny. All right. I thought of you this morning because I got a call from Kirk Seiberg. They have 13 restaurants. They all just rock it. And there have been some social media posts about them potentially closing down downtown because there's a little uncertainty with that hotel they're in the same building with. And he goes, I just want to get it out there that there's no chance we are leaving downtown. We are committed to downtown. I would never do that to St. Louis. I believe this thing's going to get up and rolling. And I think that's great to hear that a great restaurateur wants to stay downtown.
I sure do, too. Thank you for giving us that update, because we do love our rumors here in St. Louis. We like to get things going. Social media has certainly contributed to that. Sometimes I watch people in the comment section on things, and it's like, and they're just saying stuff, and then somebody else is riffing off of it as if it's true when it's not, and it's pretty crazy.
Sports media too.
Exactly. Well, it's got to be 10 times worse in sports media. The speculation game is very big there.
So I did text with Scott Connell about 3 hours ago, and I said, over and under 10 inches, which way would you bet? He said, I'd bet the over right now, but not by much.
Wow. Yeah. And as we've heard, Glenn Zimmerman's been on here. Gary's talked about it. Snowfall can be tough for meteorologists to predict that, and they'd rather err on the side of having people a little over-prepared as opposed to under-prepared. Connor, you're a believer. You think that this is not overhyped, and we're going to get.
I don't claim to have anywhere near the experience or education of any meteorologist, but just looking at it, a lot of times you're like, I was just talking to Carl about it before I think it'll go south. It's like, but when you look at it, it's hitting like half of the country, if not more. There's no south for it to
40
go.
States now.
Yeah, it's like there's no going south. I don't know. Not the way a typical, it went down 50 miles and it missed us.
I'm not a meteorologist, never played one on TV. I know them very well. I know how hard they work, especially in these settings, and I believe them. And so, I also understand it's, you can't always predict it, and I don't care if they get it wrong and say we're going to get more than we thought we were.
Wouldn't you rather them overshoot it? Because like you saw in December, when no one said anything and everyone was on the road, so it was a disaster. You guys got stuck in traffic for hours, right? I mean,
Steve, he was out of town, but Steve Savard and I,
Savard who got stuck in traffic.
We both had 3.5 hour commutes home that day. Yeah, I know you were. That was hard for you to hear that story later. And when you were in Florida playing pickleball, and you're like, I really worry about those guys up there.
No pickleball, just golf. All right, so we will take a short time out, and when we come back, one of the topics in the opening dialogue is going to be comparing and contrasting this one to what happened in 1982. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Farmers and ranchers, when it's time to buy or sell ag equipment, think Purple Wave Auction. We're your go-to online marketplace for tractors, combines, sprayers, and more. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Experience the Purple Wave difference. Nationwide reach with a local touch. Purple Wave Auction. Whether you're expanding your operation or streamlining your fleet, we've got you covered. Visit purplewave.com today. Fuel your farm with Purple Wave Auction.
Get your reservations in now for Bishop's Post. Bishop's Post. They have the best version of your classic favorites. Located in Chesterfield, Bishop's Post is the perfect spot for that celebration.
How would you like your vehicle serviced at your own home or office? Our new Mobile Service Plus, available exclusively from St. Paul Cadillac, can do just that. Hi, this is Joe Clemens. Simply give us a call or go to our website and get a unit dispatched right to your doorstep. This is a game changer for customer service, and we are so happy to offer it to you. Everything from oil changes, belts, new tires, tire rotation, recalls, key fobs, brake pads and rotors, EV charge, battery replacement, air conditioning service, and so much more. St. Paul's Mobile Service Plus will come to you. Call our mobile dispatch at 636-931-0055. That's 636-931-0055. Or go to our website at stpaulcadillac.com and set up an appointment. It's that simple. Get door-to-door service with St. Paul's new Mobile Service Plus. Nothing could be easier. Set up your appointment today. That's Mobile Service Plus, exclusively from St. Paul Cadillac at the Herculaneum Auto Mall Exit.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's, reminding everyone that I'm looking forward to seeing you at one of our 2 locations. Whether it be for lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, Maggie's is the place to be. Don't forget to catch our shuttle to all the major events downtown. And if you need a banquet room, small or large, for that special occasion, please give us a call at Maggie O'Brien's. Maggie O'Brien's 2 locations on South Lindbergh and Sunset Hills and downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Dr. Joseph Molesky here with STL Medical Weight Loss. We're going to be hosting a new weekend show at 10 a.m. on Sunday. I'm so excited. I'm joined with my nurse practitioner, Laura Howard. We're going to get into nitty-gritties of everything, answer all your questions about the weight loss shot, how do GLP-1s actually work, hot topics in the news, the do's and don'ts, microdosing, and beyond weight loss. Tune in Sunday at 10 a.m. We're going to be talking about everything you have questions about, and we're going to make sure you understand how in 2026 you can get right with your health. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS. Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
So I've always thought that the endings of a career are so vital, or if I could use the gymnastics or figure skating vernacular, you got to stick the landing. Because if you don't have a second chance, and it may affect the way you look back on the 40 or 50 years you put in. I can remember as a young reporter all too well seeing really respected people at Channel 5 being escorted out of the building with a box in hand and a security guard behind them. Really sad. So that leads me to the coolest story in broadcasting over the last 48 hours. Bob Costas is coming back to NBC. It was an awkward ending. 2018, he was removed from NBC's coverage of the Super Bowl after he was critical of the NFL because of their handling of concussions. His last assignment was actually the Belmont race. There was no announcement, no on-air goodbye. It really wasn't even acknowledged. This is the man who had 29 Emmys, but now he's coming back to NBC. He will do some NBA work, host some Sunday night baseball evenings. We have that coming up, and add some historical perspective essays for NBC News. When you are the GOAT, you need to go out in fashion, in style. Or as Lou Brock once said at Cooperstown at his Hall of Fame induction speech, orchestrate my own exodus. P.S. The NBA ratings for St. Louis and Channel 5 are absolutely abominable, hideous, our worst lead-in ever. We could play reruns of shows that have been off the air for 10 years and get a higher rating in St. Louis than the NBA is doing for us right now, which kind of surprises me. Those are my thoughts.
I thought he was excellent at the Olympics. And so I would have loved to seen him pulled back into Olympic coverage.
He will do some stuff in 2028 in L.A., but nothing in Italy.
Okay, but I guess it's too soon of a reunion to expect him to be plugged into that, but that would have been cool in my humble opinion. But that's great. I'm really, really glad to see this happening. I think he's the best of the best, and I think we're going to be lucky to have him back on the air again. And since he's your friend, you must be extra excited about that. So I'm going to dinner at 5:15 tonight and thrilled to see the Nate Bargatze show starting at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm not going to lie. I love an early night. There's a quiet cultural shift happening in St. Louis nightlife, and it's, according to St. Louis Magazine and Sauce Magazine, more bars, restaurants, even live music venues embracing earlier hours. We're talking 7 o'clock shows, restaurant kitchens with a hard close at 9 p.m., sometimes even 8 p.m. Patrons want to be home earlier. I love being asleep by 10 p.m. I get it. Some restaurants say it's about staffing, have a harder time getting servers and kitchen staff to work late. I'm wondering what you guys think about this. Do you love an earlier night energy, or do you miss the thrill of staying out late and back to the 2 p.m. bars? I never did. After college, I don't think I ever did go someplace and shut down a bar. That was just strictly, college way of life for me.
Streaking incident, or?
That was in high school,
Okay.
and no, I was definitely not. There was no place. It was too small of a town. We couldn't get away with stuff like that, going to bars.
I think, look, obviously it's a lot healthier. You're in bed earlier and you're eating earlier as opposed to eating like a big piece of red meat at 9 o'clock. That's not a great idea. And you're right. It's definitely a trend that people are going out to eat earlier, or at least maybe as we get older, we find.
Well, we have found too. We had events going on or something, and then we said, "Let's go grab a bite to eat." Gone to multiple restaurants at 8:30 or 8:45, and they're like, "Oh, the kitchen's already closed," or "The kitchen's, we already have taken our last order." So it kind of, I think it's kind of a chicken and egg situation where patrons' behavior is changing, partly because the restaurants are changing.
Kitchens definitely close earlier. There's no question.
Connor, how about you? Do you tend to, if you guys go out and grab a bite, do you have places that you like that stay open later? Same thing with bars?
So, I mean, like a restaurant, you don't expect it to be open late. But yeah, there is some disappointment in the fact that a lot of bars now, bar and restaurant types close at like 10 o'clock or earlier. And, there is some disappointment, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
All right, thought two. We were discussing this yesterday in the studio. The storm of 1982, January 30th, a 1 in 70 year snow event. Up to 4,000 motorists were stranded. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. 4,000. The airport, bus station, of course, shut down. Schools and businesses all shut down for a week. The National Weather Service reported snow drifts up to 6 feet. The Missouri National Guard was brought in to help. It brought 13.9 inches of snow at Lambert. It hit 18 inches at other parts of our region. The blizzard of 82 started as a rain event. Now, here's the interesting thing. It was predicted for 2 to 4 inches. It was actually not factually a blizzard. Winds have to be 35 miles per hour or more. In 1982, the winds were actually 26, which is still pretty significant. And it has to last, well, let's see. The biggest difference between now and 1982 is we will not have nearly the wind issue, and we will be ready. This is not going to sneak up on us. We're not predicting 2 to 4 inches. So get ready. We've had something like this before, and this is going to be right up there with one of our all-time
this is
greatest.
good. Already a lot of texts coming in because you're mentioned on this. I grew up in Minnesota and never experienced the depth of snow that we got in 1982. It was seriously 2 feet. 1982, our equipment hauled snow off-site the St. Louis airport trying to clear runways. I'm sure many of you have some good recollections. We'd love to hear them on the Royal Banks of Missouri. Text line, somebody else asked me if I got a cold. Oh, either that or I'm trying to impersonate Kathleen Turner today. I'm on the back end of something that's been working on me all week, but I'm feeling much better for sure. I thought it was interesting watching local news yesterday that IDOT and MoDOT taking slightly different tactics when it comes to pre-treating our impending snowstorms. On the Mo side, they will be pre-treating, at least in key intersections. On the Illinois side, they say no. They think it's going to lead to more ice. And I think it's kind of interesting, right? It got me thinking about this idea that even though we live very close to each other, there are some things that we sort of separate us when it comes to being in two separate states here, even though we're all part of one metro area. My friends who live in the Metro East say they feel like they're misunderstood. Shorter commutes, more affordable homes, strong communities. People who don't live there, otherwise known as the Missourians, will say flat out, we'd never cross the river. But according to some reporting, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and some stuff I found of the census data, thousands of people quietly do make the move across the river every single year. People cite things like space, affordability, or schools. They just don't always talk about it. So informally, I asked a couple of Illinois friends if they'd ever consider moving across to Missouri. In a couple cases, they actually grew up in places like Webster Groves, but they've lived over on that side. They both said no. Too much variation between communities and school quality, which can lead to crazy price differences. Houses built at the same time by the same builder. We talked about this earlier, Connor. But across the street from each other, if they're in two different school districts, can have very different values. They say school quality more uniform in Illinois public schools. I asked
more uniform.
Mm-hmm. I asked Missouri friends if they would move to Illinois. Answer unequivocally no. The perception is they would be too far from favorite restaurants and things they love on this side of the river. I think that's where some of that quiet rivalry comes in. But, I just think it's the communities we get used to. But whether it's Illinois versus Missouri or just in general, what's the biggest misconception people have about where you live and why did they get it wrong? I'd love to hear from you.
How about that perception, too, about the St. Charles County area that maybe like 15 years ago, there's no chance I'm moving way out there. That's the boondocks. Now, everybody's moving out there.
Yeah.
And it's not that far a drive.
I remember
it's great.
We bought our first little house in Olivet, and it was pretty tiny. And my friend Julie Geyer, who's a great reporter at Fox 2, about the same age as me, she and her husband bought almost within like a couple $1,000s the same priced house in St. Charles. And she got literally a couple extra bedrooms, and it was a big yard. And there was, and I thought, maybe we should have expanded our search a bit.
That was the same kind of experience. Yeah, I remember we almost bought one in Chesterfield, and my dad said to me, he goes, "Do you know how far away you're going to be from me?" It was like 15 minutes. So we was a lot closer. Yeah. Also, I think that there's perceptions like if you had a young family and you didn't want to live in the city school district because you don't want to send your kids to those schools. That's a perception, whether it's real or not. That's a perception. On the east side, I don't know. I mean, Edwardsville's thriving. There's just a lot of great towns on the east side.
Yeah, for sure. We were in Florida when we were in Florida. We met some nice people who have a beautiful life. It sounds like in Swansea, Illinois, they were describing just all kinds of cool stuff, and it goes to show you we a lot of times get very insular. We know a lot about what we know about, and then we make incorrect judgments about things that we don't know about, and we're probably missing out on some stuff.
All right, thought three, some quickies. Talked to a really good friend of mine who's a car salesman. And he told me that very few are now buying electric cars anymore at his dealership. And then on AI, I read this morning, a 46% decline in quarter four for 2025, lowest level since 2019. Why? Maybe higher purchase prices, limited charging, and concerns over battery repair cost. P.S., he also said a high percentage of his customers are buying cars that they really can't afford. New link between body mass and obesity to vascular dementia. Massive study, 130,000 people over decades, put on by the University of Copenhagen and the University of Bristol. If you have a genetic link to obesity, you're not getting the right blood flow to the brain. High BMI, high blood pressure are not just direct markers, but direct causes of dementia. Finally, one of the best things to happen to Catholicism is the quarterback at the University of Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, who declared for the draft today. He's been out there proclaiming his Catholic faith for the world to see, and literally the world is seeing it because he's been on national TV so much. I saw a priest on a show today being interviewed about how he was a pastor from Indiana who's close to Fernando, and Mendoza also took pictures with the Heisman with these priests, and they're in love with the guy. And the pastor also said he's noticed a real shift in kids on college campuses being more bold about their faith. And he says, especially in Indiana, that Mendoza has this kind of impact. So not only an impact of winning, but maybe bring people to take a look at the Catholic faith.
Did you see him on the Today Show today?
I did not.
It was great.
Really?
Yeah, he just really, at least I
so
thought.
it's Pope John Paul II and then Fernando Mendoza. Is that
in that order?
Is that the rankings for
Pope Leo now?
Important changes to Catholicism?
Yeah, that's good.
Who's had a bigger effect?
Yeah, I think probably the Pope, but I don't know.
Hollywood Roundup on a Friday. We like to go a little shallow on Fridays, if you will, and take a look at some things happening in the world. I thought this was hilarious. Did you see any of these stories that William Shatner was photographed driving around L.A. while eating a bowl of cereal, and today he was walking in somewhere with a box of Raisin Bran? Well, it turns out it all has to do with Super Bowl ads. We can expect to see him in a Super Bowl ad for cereal, and that's why the viral video of him eating cereal while he was driving is all related to that. It wasn't just a completely spontaneous, captured on tape moment. Jason Segel, funny interview, said he did not tell his parents that he was going to be full frontal nude in that movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which was, of course, his big break movie.
I can't believe you said that, because as soon as you said his name, that's the first thing I thought of. That's crazy.
When he took them to see it, he thought it would be funny. His mother did not think it was a funny surprise to go to the movie for the first time and understand that about it. Ashton Kutcher just revealed he is writing his own country album. He says he's currently obsessed with getting it done. I did not know he was a music guy, fellow Iowan that he is. So hopefully he can sing. Sometimes stars that love music and want to sing are really good at it, former actors, and sometimes not so much. K-pop Demon Hunters, most watched title ever on Netflix, 482 million views. I have yet to see it, but several people who I know, like, and respect say I should reserve judgment that I'd actually probably like it better than I thought I would. Have you watched it, Connor?
Yeah, I've given it a watch. I just don't think I'm the target audience, so yeah, I thought it was just fine.
Okay, and Frank's never going to watch it, so we don't have to worry about that.
I think Carl liked it because he said he plays the music at the games now.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I think Lynn did too. And then finally, Adrian Brody tops a list of the longest Oscar speeches in history, 5 minutes, 40 seconds. Greer Garson, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Will Smith, 5 minutes, 20 seconds. There should not be a 5 in front of the number for the Oscar speeches, in my humble opinion, but that's just me.
94, best-looking human being in the 90s ever. I mean, how good he still looks. Well, there's got to be some great-looking women, too.
Shirley MacLaine's in her 90s, and Anne Carol Burnett, and they both.
Oh my gosh, Carol Burnett too. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the top two that come to mind for sure. Hey, we have a great show coming up for you, but first of all, don't forget. I love snow is a great excuse for me to remember to swing by and see my friends at Schnarr Hardware. I mean, all the stuff that you know that you need for this coming few days, they've got it. Salt, shovels, scrapers, snow blowers. It's just a fun vibe as well to pop in and say, you got any of this? When I was going in, I needed a scraper when we had that potential snow that turned out to be a real snow. Not long after Thanksgiving, I was in the car. I couldn't find my scraper. I ran in there, and they, ran downstairs to get me a different kind because they knew the ones they had out, I might like the other kind better. That kind of service you just only get at places like Schnarr's. Locations in Ladue and Webster, and online at schnarrs.com.
From Art Hill and Forest Park, Haskell Park in Alton, McNair to Blanchette Park in St. Charles.
You know where to sled in St. Louis, and we know weather in St. Louis.
The First Alert 4 weather team, along with a Big 550, keeping you informed, live, local, and a station you can depend on. KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. Depend on it. Mizzou basketball on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Graybar.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
This Saturday, Mizzou welcomes Oklahoma to Columbia for a 1 p.m. tip-off. Pre-game begins at 12:30 p.m.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs.
Catch all the action right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Graybar for all your electrical and datacom solutions.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei playing a stunning concerto on the shong, a mouth organ, and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program, January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You've had all these great ideas about what to do with your outside space. Now's the time to take the next step and call Outdoor Living, because Pat Leahy and the gang at Outdoor Living have built a showroom, which is a great resource for you. You can go in and see all the products they have, the composite decking, the metal framing. You see, at Outdoor Living, what they pride themselves on is building it right the first time and never having to worry about it again. So they build it. You can enjoy it for the rest of your life. Outdoor Living, their showroom on Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood, is a great resource for you. You can go and see all the different ways and all the different things they can do. Then they'll come out, they'll do a site visit, and in just a few short weeks, you will have the dream deck, fence, gazebo, pergola, whatever it may be. Outdoor Living, right there in Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. 314-966-3325 or OutdoorLivingInc.com. Check out the showroom and take that next step. You'll love it. Outdoor Living or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show on a Friday morning. Happy Friday to you. Happy Snowmageddon preps to all of you out there. I'm going to just say it. I am really excited about our next guest. Elizabeth Lame grew up right here in St. Louis, went on to become a successful TV writer in Los Angeles, but a lot of people know her through podcasts. She was an early podcast pioneer with Totally Lame, built a huge following with Nobody's Listening, right? And now she's everywhere, including being featured in Rolling Stone magazine this week for her gripping limited true crime series, Beth's Dead. Smart, funny, genuine, deeply thoughtful. I'm thrilled to welcome fellow St. Louis and Elizabeth Lame to the Frank and Jill Show today. Thanks so much for making the time to be with us today, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. I have to say, even hearing the commercials and come see us in Kirkwood, it warms my heart. I love St. Louis so much, so I'm thrilled.
Of course, the million-dollar question we're dying to know is, where did you go to high school?
I went to MICDS. I was very fortunate and had a wonderful middle school and high school experience. And then I left St. Louis and, carried on. But I love visiting and, anytime I have a chance to get back, I do.
Yeah, everybody says that. There's always a little, for people who lived here, even who haven't lived here for a long time, there's a little piece of your heart that always remains in St. Louis. I loved Beth's Dead, the podcast. You did it with your husband, Andy Rosen, Monica Padman, who was recently nominated for a Golden Globe in the podcast category. For those who haven't had a chance to check it out yet, how do you describe what Beth's Dead is about?
Well, it was hard to market because it's a story we just want people to kind of go on the journey. But it is a true crime podcast that's different from most true crime podcasts because it's 3 kind of chat show podcasters bringing this to you. But it's a story of why Andy and I stopped podcasting suddenly in 2018 after having done it for 8 years, or maybe it was 2017. And it basically was that a relationship that I had developed, like a big sister relationship with a listener, had kind of twisted on its head, and the story takes twists and turns, and ultimately the LAPD got involved. We had our locks changed, and then Monica got involved in telling the story, and there were even more twists and turns in making of the podcast.
So I'm curious, when you're, let's just say, daydreaming during a history class at MICDS about your future, like we all do, podcasting was not, something you thought about back then. What was your dream or your passion at that young of an age?
Yes, Frank. It's interesting because I went to college for economics and accounting. I was going to become a CPA, and but I did do lots of theater at MICDS, and was always kind of a creative out there person. I just didn't know that this was a path that existed. And after college, I had moved down to LA. 'Cause my parents had relocated to Los Angeles, and unfortunately, they passed away while I was in college.
Mm.
And so naturally, I turned to stand-up comedy to deal with it. um, but then it was just kind of a slippery slope from there, and I ended up with all the, uh, lost souls in Hollywood, and kind of made my way that way.
We're going to talk a little bit about you guys as podcast pioneers in a minute, but I want to say that one of the things that you guys really get into in Beth's Dead, and was the subject of the Rolling Stone article as well, is something that I hadn't really heard of before, parasocial relationships, and how that has become a new thing really in this century, really in the last 10 years. Can you tell us what that is and what that means and where it can be good and where it can go awry?
Yeah, I'm sure you have your own going both ways. I know your listeners probably think that they have a sense in a relationship with you, and a parasocial relationship, it's a relationship you form with someone that you don't actually know in real life, but you think you know them because they're putting on social media what they ate today, or they're doing radio shows and talking about their lives, or doing podcasts. And I think because of social media and podcasts being such intimate mediums where people really kind of forget that they're even, well, I don't know if they forget, but they curate what they're putting out there, or in our case on our podcast, Nobody's Listening Right, we often forget that we're even talking beyond just the two of us. It's easy to think that you know the person so well and you have a relationship with them, when the truth is you don't really. Uh, so I just learned this phrase doing this podcast, Beth's Dead, because Monica Padman um, explained it to us. And actually, she had her own parasocial relationship with me and Andy from our previous podcasts that she had been a fan of. So it was really fascinating having her guide us through the story when she fully understands that dynamic.
By the way, when Jill said the words parasocial about 20 minutes ago, I had never heard it before either. But boy, and like I think people would agree that nobody, like the AM talk show host is where people get to know that host more than any medium. And now it's been also added to with podcasts where you just feel like you know that person.
Yes, and I'm sure you might have had experiences, good or bad, of people reaching out and saying, oh my gosh, the way you did this, it made me so happy, or I'm so disappointed that you said this. And it's because they've attributed an expectation on your relationship with them, almost like a family member, where you're like, hey, I didn't like it if you said that, or I really thought that was cool and you were very brave. So it's really interesting. And I think it's a very human response to getting to know someone,
It's
whether
clear.
it's
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth. A couple of things. First of all, I want to say, I love listening to you and your husband, Andy, and I love that the two of you met in junior high in St. Louis. Is that true? He ended up moving away from St. Louis, but then you rekindled that relationship?
Yes. So we joke with our kids, like, be careful of your first crushes, because at MICDS, we had moved to St. Louis when I was in 5th grade, and I started there in 6th grade, and he was attending. And so my CDS and MI like combined when I was in 7th grade, and he was my first real crush. And we were friends. He had a crush on someone else. So it was a one-way street for me, but he then moved to Sun Valley, Idaho, and because back then there weren't phones, there was no way of communicating. I didn't hear from him for 13 years and thought, oh, he's gone on with his life, and so have I. And then we were both living in New York City in 2003, and he recognized me on the street out on a Friday night. We were like heading out to dinner. I was with my friend Pam, and I heard my name being called, and he ran up and said, "Are you Elizabeth Lame? I'm Andy Rosen." And we've been together ever since. So that was 22 years ago.
What a great story. You were podcasting before podcasting was a thing, back in 2010. Started as just kind of a fun little hobby. You've become one of the most recognized podcasters. And for those of you just joining us, we're talking to Elizabeth Lame. She is a podcasting phenom, in addition to being a successful TV writer and behind the wildly popular limited true crime series Beth's Dead that is taking the world by storm right now. Did you ever expect when you started that first podcast in 2010 that we would be handing out Best Podcaster Awards at the Golden Globes a mere 16 years later?
Definitely not. I was even confused what we were doing. I was like, it's radio, but we're putting it online. And I mean, my best friends and their family, shout out the Cotizas there in St. Louis, were like, what are you doing? None of us really knew and could have had no idea how big of a thing it was. So yeah, definitely not. And not, it's always been surprising to me how much podcasts have resonated. And now it seems like everyone and their mother has a podcast, which I think is great because I love it as an art form and as a way to get your voice out there.
Elizabeth Lame, we know you're busy. You got lots of things going on out in LA, but thanks for coming back and talking to some of, I'm sure some of your homies are listening in here in St. Louis. Yeah. We loved having you, and I really hope everybody checks out Beth's Dead and tunes into Nobody's Listening Right with your wonderful husband, Andy. Thanks again for taking the time to meet with us today.
Thank you. This was such a joy. Thank you so much. And thank you to St. Louis. I love you so much.
Really, really cool story. And she's very candid if you listen to any of the podcasts. And as she mentioned, losing both of her parents in college, including her mom.
Cancer, was it?
Yeah. And so there's just something. She's very open-hearted in the way and down to earth. I like to credit that to those Midwestern roots, even though she's out in LA for sure. I hope you guys check it out. I hope you check out the rest of the show as well. We have lots of great stuff coming up, including Gary Frank's going to join us right after the break to give us the latest update on what we can expect with snowfall. Don't go away.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Recently, a good friend of mine was changing the light fixture in their kitchen. And they took the light fixture off the ceiling and they looked inside the ceiling and said, what is the phone number to Michael Baldy? If they would have listened to me, they would have put Michael Baldy's phone number in their phone because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial. So here you go. The next time you need an electrician, you need to remember Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. So the phone number, 314-968-9999. Indoor, outdoor, an old Victorian home, knob and tube wiring, and anything and everything in between. You see, Michael Baldy is a licensed electrician, and he has a team ready to go. Whether it's something for the ceiling in the kitchen, something for the lights for the holidays, whatever it may be, Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. BaldyElectric.com, 314-968-9999, because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial. BaldyElectric.com.
Mom, what do you always say? There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer. That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
From Art Hill and Forest Park, Haskell Park in Alton, McNair to Blanchette Park in St. Charles.
You know where to sled in St. Louis, and we know weather in St. Louis.
The First Alert 4 weather team, along with a big 550, keeping you informed. Live, local, and the station you can depend on. KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. Depend on it.
All right, welcome back. Frank and Jill Show, Big 550 KTRS. He's the busiest man in St. Louis. We'll be brief with him. He's Gary Frank, the outstanding meteorologist at 5 on your side. Gary, thanks for the time. How would you sum things up as we speak at 10:50 on this Friday morning?
Sunday is the snowier day of the two. Don't be disappointed by Saturday's snow, even though there's still going to be impacts that'll be felt because it's incredibly cold. It's colder now, and you guys know it's colder now than when I went to work, which usually is the opposite, right? It is very cold outside. Wind chills are dangerous, and we're going to get most of our snow on Sunday versus Saturday.
Okay, so husband John is thinking about driving back and forth to Kansas City on Saturday for a funeral. Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
You know, I think the only reason I have pause about it is because of the way I-70 is and historically why it is, because when you get stuck out there, then you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no way to wiggle around that. And then I think, the other thing I was just talking to somebody in here about is, truckers our truck driver friends, man, they're getting after it. They're doing great work for us. They're not taking time off, and they don't care that there's a winter storm warning because time is money, right? And so they're going, and something happens with one of those, then you're stuck in your car for 2 hours, right? And so I'm not certain that's going to happen, but I think conditions will be dangerous, and it's going to snow over there first versus here. So there are already going to be some problems, and I think it's going to be some travel issues are going to be sooner than later, west to east.
And over under 10 inches, and when will the snow finally stop in St. Louis on Sunday?
Over 10 inches, and I think it's finally going to stop by about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. And I think really the main thing is by Saturday evening, I wouldn't be surprised 6, 7 o'clock it quits snowing for a little bit, or it's light in intensity. And then everybody, and I know how this works, everybody is going, where's my foot of snow? This is unbelievable. Because the moisture content that we were kind of talking about a couple of days ago, where the moisture content from the secondary band of snow is going to be so much more significant. And that's where we're going to get the bulk of the 5 to 8 inches or plus on Sunday. And I think when you wake up, it's going to be a lot different because this snow is really going to ramp up in intensity after midnight. And by the time it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock Sunday morning, we've got a lot of snow, in my opinion. I think that's where we're going to see some 10 to 13 inches area-wide. I did look up the 1982 thing for me. You talked to me off the air. That was about 14 inches of snow in a 2-day period. I'm not sure we're going to get there, but it says it could be a top 5 2-day period for us in the St. Louis area if things pan out.
And then temperatures and wind chills.
Temperatures right now between 5 to 10. They're going to be somewhere between about 10 to 13, falling to around 3 to 5 overnight. Wind chills already incredibly dangerous. In far northern Missouri, you're looking at 30 below. Right now we're somewhere between 10 to 15, and it'll be closer to 15 to 25. Especially Monday morning. That's why I expect Monday morning's impacts. As hard as they're going to work, as cold as it is, that treatment does not work at a certain temperature or it doesn't have as much effectiveness. So as much as they're going to try to clear it off, this powdery snow will be compact when you drive on it. There's no way they're going to scrape over it. And with all the chemicals, then it refreezes and then there's a glaze and you can't get it off. And so that's where it's going to be the tricky part of it. There are going to be side streets that are slick for 2, 3, 4 days. So I think Monday morning, as cold as it is, where it may be between 0 and 5 below with wind chills at 20, there's going to be a lot of cancellations, delays, things like that.
Good stuff. You're the best. Thank you so much.
You got it, buddy.
All right. Gary Frank joining us.
What a busy day. Really appreciate him taking the time to fill us in on the very latest. Can't you just hear all the school kids around St. Louis going, snow day on Monday? They're pretty jazzed about it already.
Email from Mark Dorsey. Hey guys, you've been great employees. Let's just take a break.
Take the day off. They don't even get snow days anymore, right?
Yeah, they do.
They do virtual learning days.
They get a few. They have a few snow days, but not nearly as many as the old days. They turn them
maybe
into.
It's by district. I was talking to our district just does virtual learning days. And,
There's still, at least I know, I have my daughter's friends teach in Ladue schools, and they still get a few. There's a few snow days built in there too.
And there's nothing quite like it. In the old days, you'd listen to Bob Hardy and Rex Davis on KMOX, and you'd hear your name. Oh, it's like the best ever.
Yeah, there was and I remember the new technology was when my kids were in school that they would just do an auto call of you at like 6 a.m. to let you know. And after my last kid graduated, somehow I was still on that list. And one morning the phone rang at 6 a.m. It was very startling. And I was like, what's going on? And then it was like Sunday. I was like, does not. I got to get off that list. It no longer impacts us.
I remember one year Westminster had me do it, so the recording to all the students and stuff. Get back to sleep. Enjoy the snow. No school. Something like that.
Did your kids ever do the turn the upside down spoon under their, or put an orange under their pillow or whatever? There's all kinds.
I think it was orange in the freezer.
Orange in the freezer. Thank you.
Orange under the pillow would, I think, get a little messy.
Yeah, but there's a spoon under the pillow and an orange in the freezer.
Yeah, we did the orange in the freezer.
And I bet our audience can relate to this. 84126 is even though you're technically not allowed to go to school, one of the first things you did, besides go back to bed for about an hour, is go outside right away and play in the snow and be out there for 3 or 4 hours. Mm-hmm. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
Go somewhere to sled.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay off the roads. Well, let's get on the roads to go somewhere to sled.
Yeah.
Yep. Lots of you reminiscing about the thunder snow of 1982. Had a snowplow stuck in our neighborhood for 3 days. That's a sign that things aren't. I was a high school senior then. Mom and Dad's house at the bottom of a hill in Creve Coeur. It was rough. Yeah, Ed pointing that out. We talked also about sort of the misperceptions that we sometimes have of each other in St. Louis, even on both sides of the river. People saying, I live in Golden Eagle, Illinois, northwest of St. Louis, across the Mississippi River from St. Charles. People have no idea about this area and how close it is to St. Louis and what a beautiful countryside it is. Other people saying Glen Carbon, really one of the best areas to live around here. So appreciate you guys being in the conversation with us today.
Finally, I work at Parkway. We get 3 snow days and do virtual after that. All right, we'll take a short time out, and after that, we're going to visit with Lynn Venhouse.
Hey, it's Heidi, and if the new year means a new look for your home, look no further than Dalco Home Remodeling. Let me just tell you, customers could not be happier. If you're looking for new windows, Dalco Home Remodeling has you covered. If you're looking for a new door, they can custom make you a front door. They can do French doors, they can do sliding doors, and they can stain it or paint it to whatever you have going on or whatever new color you want to add. Let me just tell you about some of the happy clients. You've got Alex, who said, I had Dalco replace several windows and doors on one of my properties, did a top quality job for me, would definitely recommend. And he's just one of many. You know, Dalco Home Remodeling has been around for more than 50 years. They are family owned and family operated. So if you're ready to get your dream project underway, go to DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. You can also give them a call at 314-298-7300. The
leaves and temperatures are changing. Can your furnace keep up? With Viviano Heating and Air, you don't have to guess. Our certified technicians provide expert HVAC maintenance, repairs, and energy-efficient upgrades tailored specifically to your home. So whether you're looking for a full system replacement or a tune-up to get you through the cooler months, call Viviano today. Check out the website, VivianoAir.com. Trane, the most reliable name in heating and cooling around. It's hard to stop a train.
Got gold? Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green. Online at jewelsonhampton.com.
How do you separate estate planning from elder law? You don't, because they're so intertwined. Let's face it, we're all getting older, and you need to make these decisions today, whether it's for your parents, for yourself, or for future generations. Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, and Caroline Stolzer have been navigating these important decisions for more than 50 years. Beck, Lennox, Stolzer, estate planning, and elder law. Call them, 636-946-7899 or beckelderlaw.com. You can thank me later.
The University of Missouri St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
From Art Hill at Forest Park, Haskell Park in Alton, McNair to Blanchette Park in St. Charles. You know where to sled in St. Louis, and we know weather in St. Louis. The First Alert 4 weather team, along with a big 550, keeping you informed, live, local, and the station you can depend on. KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. Depend on it. If it's soccer in St. Louis, it's talked about on the Soccer Voice in St. Louis.
The Big 550.
KTRS.
St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After more than a decade in hiding, federal authorities say they've taken former Olympic athlete and alleged drug trafficker Ryan Wedding into custody. FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi say Wedding, the 6th top 10 most wanted fugitive this past year, turned himself in Mexico and will be brought back to the U.S. Authorities allege Wedding was running and participating in a transnational drug trafficking operation with ties to Mexico's Sinaloa cartel and transporting drugs through the U.S. and Canada. Wedding is also accused of murder. In Minneapolis, outrage after federal immigration authorities took a 5-year-old boy into custody and arrested his father this week, flying both of them out of state to an immigration facility. Commander-at-Large of Border Patrol Greg Bavino, at a briefing this morning, defended the actions of ICE agents.
Take a look at what's happening here with this particular case. They're not being separated. That child is in the least restrictive setting possible.
Protests continuing in dangerous 40-plus below wind chills. ABC's Matt Rivers is there and says school officials dispute federal agents' account.
School officials say 5-year-old Liam and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent, quote, essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away. Witnesses say multiple people, including the boy's mother, offered to take him.
The massive winter storm targeting the majority of the country has started in the southwest. Heavy snow, ice, along with a cold blast could cripple the nation's midsection. More than a dozen states along the Washington, D.C. area declaring states of emergencies, including North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein warning residents to take this storm seriously.
We expect the temperature to fall below freezing every night for the next 7 days.
Airlines also canceling hundreds of flights. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
With President Trump pushing for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates at 10%, Bloomberg is now reporting that a couple of banks, Citigroup and Bank of America, are considering plans to roll out new cards that would carry 10% rates.
Some bank executives have warned a cap would trigger a major pullback on lending and curb economic growth. But some analysts argue credit cards are extremely profitable, leaving room for lower rates. A recent report found the country's collective credit card debt now tops $1.2 trillion.
ABC's Sophie Flay. The Interior Department says it was just following orders, but there is sharp backlash in Philadelphia over what's going on.
The U.S. Interior Department confirming that the National Park Service removed an exhibit in Philadelphia honoring 9 people enslaved by George Washington, saying the department is complying with President Trump's executive order from March of last year, titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. The order calling for the removal of what were called disparaging materials from Independence Hall ahead of America's 250th birthday. City and state leaders are condemning the move, the city of Philadelphia filing a lawsuit to stop it. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Anna Wintour, Tom Ford, Donatella Versace, and Anne Hathaway among the mourners in Rome, attending the funeral of fashion icon Valentino. Today's funeral following a 2-day public viewing at Valentino Foundation headquarters. Valentino died earlier this week at his residence in Rome. He was 93. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. In anticipation of severe weather hitting St. Louis this weekend, the City of St. Louis Department of Human Services has moved to the highest Code Blue activation level. At Code Blue Level 4, the city and its partners add 600 emergency shelter beds to the baseline of 400, bringing the total to 1,000 shelter beds in St. Louis between tonight and Monday morning. And some shelters also accept pets. Those in need of a shelter or transportation to a shelter should call the United Way at 211. Stay off the roadways during the winter storm if possible. That's the message from the Missouri Department of Transportation. MoDOT Director Ed Hassinger says roadways are expected to become hazardous.
So we're asking the public to help us as we try to do our job to make sure you're prepared. Really get off the road if you can. If you don't have to travel, there's really no reason to do so. And then give our team the ability and the room to work so that we can get the roads clear.
MoDOT crews will be working double shifts throughout the duration of the storm, and Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency as a precautionary measure and puts the National Guard on standby if needed. The tragedy serves as a reminder about the dangers of walking on frozen ponds. A 5-year-old girl from Steelville drowned this week after falling through ice on a pond in Crawford County. The Missouri State Highway Patrol said the child walked onto a pond Tuesday evening and fell through the ice. The incident happened on private property off of Highway M west of Steelville. An overnight fire in the Metro East is to blame for claiming the lives of 2 family dogs. Firefighters were called to a burning home along the 800 block of LaSalle Drive in Cahokia Heights around 1:30 this morning. A man was able to make it out safely with 2 of his dogs, but 2 other dogs died in the fire. The cause of the fire is being investigated. Riverview Mayor Mike Cornell remains jailed. Yesterday, a judge denied his request for a bond reduction. Cornell was arrested and charged last week with 9 felonies, including statutory sodomy and possession of child pornography. His bond remains at $1 million cash only. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. Harris Stowe State University broke ground today on a new $62 million STEM building on Laclede Avenue. The 4-story, 82,000-square-foot building will be used to support academic programs, research, and hands-on learning featuring laboratories designed for collaboration. This look at the markets now brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings 9 to 11. Right now on Wall Street, Dow Jones is down 242 points to 49,141. NASDAQ is up 110 to 23,545, and S&P 500 up 8 points to 6,921. KTRS Sports, the Blues are in Dallas tonight as they meet up with the Stars. The 121 goals scored by the Note this season are the fewest in the NHL. Mizzou basketball looks to snap a 2-game losing streak when they host Oklahoma Saturday in Columbia. Pre-game coverage on the Big 550 begins tomorrow at 12:30. KTRS weather, winter storm warning tomorrow morning through Sunday night. Today, cloudy, high of 14. Tonight, cloudy with an overnight low of 3. Tomorrow, heavy snowfall expected to begin in the afternoon and continue into Sunday morning. The St. Louis area could see up to 10 inches of snow, more to our south. Highs this weekend in the mid-teens. Right now, cloudy, 11 degrees. The time is 11:08. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Miller Furniture. St. Louis's home for American-made furniture presents Lynn Venhouse Goes to the Movies.
Let's go to the movies.
On the Big 550. KTRS.
All right, welcome back. Lynn Venhouse is here. We're excited. We got a lot to talk about with her. Let's begin with his and hers for a moment. Yes. I just watched it, finished it up. And that ending is shocking. I think it's really good, not great.
Right.
But the ending is just so bizarre. It's crazy.
Oh, I know. The ending, jaws dropped. The ending, because you think you know what happened and then you don't. But I kind of had an inkling because people were telling me it was a really twist ending.
Okay. Yeah.
So then I was thinking, But it was very well acted. It's just, it's very soapy, trashy, but it was fun, And then it was nice to see the developments.
So you'd give it on a 1 to 10 or a...
What do you think about a 7?
7.5, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It's one thing, it's just watchable. I don't know if it's unbelievably well done, but you just can't turn it off. It's good.
Well, right. The story keeps you, and especially with that school, something's up.
Yeah.
And then that was a twist, too. I love all these twisty-turny things, because I think we're accustomed to that. Well, there's a new movie out right now that has too many twists and turns.
I love Chris Pratt, so I was very sad to see that this is not on your recommended list.
Yeah, at first, I was going on halfway through. I was like, "This is pretty good." It's called Mercy, and it is a high-tech thriller. This isn't going to be the first movie to take on AI, but it's about the ethical complexities of AI. So this is in the future, 2029 in LA, and crime is rampant. And so they start this court where this AI judge, you have 90 minutes to make your case whether you're innocent, because the court says you're guilty till proven innocent. So this is a switch on the law. It's very fascist if you think about it. And so if you can't prove that you're innocent in 90 minutes, you're going to be executed. So Chris Pratt is an LA detective, and he wakes up in this drunken stupor, and he finds out that he's an alcoholic that has gone off the wagon. And he finds out that he is being charged with the murder of his wife. He and his wife were having a rough patch, and they were headed towards divorce. But he's like, I did not kill her. So, it looks airtight, obviously. Rebecca Ferguson plays the judge. Remember Max Headroom back in the day? That weird, so she's this face, and she's telling him. And then they have all this electronic gizmo, you're seeing their phone records, you're seeing past memories, you're seeing all this stuff, because on the cloud, everything is there your entire life. They can find everything out about you.
So bottom line, why don't you end up recommending it?
You say terrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Carl Middleman and Carl the intern and Max Foisey and I were all sitting together, and we all agreed, because it turns into this, you think it's logical, and it seems like it's going to be okay. And then they added like 10 more things, and you're like, what? And it becomes a video game, which to me, I don't want to be watching a video game movie. I want to be invested in the characters. And Chris Pratt, for all his, he's had maybe a rough patch in those action movies because they haven't been as good as his Guardians of the Galaxy and even Jurassic World, but he needs a hit. And I feel bad because he seemed to be pretty good, even though he's confined. He's not active.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask. When I felt like watching the trailer that they shot this in during COVID. It feels like none of the actors are in the room together.
Right. So it's very weird. That girl from Night Country, True Detective, Callie Reese, she plays his partner. And so they have these twists, but just when you think, okay, this makes sense, then it goes off the rails.
All right, so don't watch that, but do watch Rip.
Rip with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I like them. And they've been in 14 movies together. Granted, some of them have been cameos, like those Kevin Smith ones. But they just have something together, I think, because Air... They were in Air together the last time. And so they have a creative spark. They've known each other since they were 8 and 10. And I like that about them, that they are these Boston kids, that their first movie was as extras in Field of Dreams. Did you know that?
I know that. That's great true.
Isn't that fun? And so here they are playing Miami cops. and they find this $20 million stash in a drug house, and then it makes good people and bad people turn on each other, and it's interesting. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but it is on Netflix right now. Apparently, it's breaking records. It's not the K-pop Demon Hunters, but it's doing really well for Netflix. And I imagine with this weather, with the world being in an Arctic freeze this week, or half the United States, that we're gonna do that. But there's a bunch of stuff. I watched the Mel Brooks documentary that's now on HBO Max last night. It dropped, and it's delightful.
He's got such a career. I can
Oh
see
my
where
God,
that-
99. He's going to turn 100 this summer.
And still sharp, right?
Yes. And Judd Apatow made this movie, and he's a comedy director, and he it's a very thoughtful interview, and Mel's very candid, and he goes through his entire life. I forgot so much about your show of shows. And he created Get Smart. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I totally forgot.
What a great show that was.
I know.
Don
And
Adams.
so that's what pulled him out, because he was broke. He was totally broke after leaving your show of shows. And he got saved by Get Smart. And his first two movies were flops. And, well, the producers won an Oscar, but it wasn't perceived well. But anyway, Blazing Saddles, he said the studio was very much against it. But he said if he would have made the movie the studios wanted, it would have been 18 minutes long. But he talks about they could not make this movie today. And Richard Pryor did the screenplay with him, and the studio would not let Richard Pryor play the sheriff part. So there's all these little tidbits, and it's really great. And then his marriage to Anne Bancroft, the love of his life, and it's just wonderful to hear all this.
I want to hear about the Smashing Machine. Dwayne Johnson is in it, and it's he's almost alluded to the fact that it was kind of his Rocky. You say it's not quite Rocky, but there's some good moments in it.
Yes, there is. He goes out of his comfort zone, and you got to applaud him for taking a part. The guy is not that likable. I got to put that up there, because this isn't a Rocky. This is a different type of underdog story, and his wife is played by Emily Blunt, and you don't know if she's a help or a hindrance. And so he comes back from opioid addiction, and this is the mixed martial arts guy, Mark Kerr. So he's playing a person. He's not playing The Rock. It starts on HBO Max tonight, or yeah, I guess today you could probably watch it.
And you would recommend it?
Yeah, I'd recommend seeing it, especially if you're a rock fan. I don't think people are going to be as enamored as they were. Like everybody had high hopes for it. But he's the biggest movie star in the world, the highest grossing movie star in the world.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I did see, I know we've discussed it, I did see Marty Supreme for the first time last night. And I agree kind of with what you're saying in that, let's face it, many good sports movies, you really love the guy or love the woman, whoever this hero is. Rocky, Rudy, Natural, and in this one, when he's winning, you're kind of a jerk. And not that it's a good movie and he's terrific, but you don't get that little kind of emotional jolt when you're really pulling for somebody throughout the movie.
Right. Yeah, you don't know whether to root for him or not when he's in those international competitions. And it is based on a real guy, but he is his own worst enemy. He gets in so many scrapes, but the supporting cast is very good, and he uses a lot of non-actors, like he uses Kevin Leary from the Shark Tank.
I cannot believe how good he is in that. Has he ever done anything besides Shark Tank?
No. But yeah, Shark Tank is it. And so he used some, that, but...
Let me nerd out, too. There's an unbelievable basketball player named George Gervin called the Iceman. He plays a role in this movie. I don't know how he got in, but he does a great job with it, too.
Well, that's just like in Uncut Gems, they had NBA guys, and that. Now, I do think the ending is unearned, and I know, I'm being critical, but like how the story wraps up, it's like he basically kind of redeems himself, but is like, well, You know, can leopards change their spots? You don't know. But he is very good. I got to give him that. Timothy Chalamet. He's going to be profiled, I think, on 60 Minutes this weekend.
Okay. Have you seen a picture of the real Marty?
Yeah.
He looks like Gus Terragrossa. He's got the hat and that little Fu Manchu. And yeah, he just looks exactly like him.
Oh, that's great. Before we let you go, a couple of the things that you recommend for those of us cozying up at home over the weekend, and they're essentially in honor of Diane Keaton. There's a memorial tribute on Turner Classic Movies to her, and then Rob Reitner as well.
Right. This Sunday, it's going to start in the afternoon with Diane Keaton, and they are going to be playing Reds and Baby Boom. Baby Boom is at night. They're going to be playing 3 of her movies. And then at night, it's going to be Annie Hall and Baby Boom. But Father of the Bride, Reds, and Manhattan Murder Mystery are going to be during the day. And that woman was so talented and so wonderful to see on the screen. And I was very sad when she died. And I think this is a beautiful tribute. So they'll have a good tribute. Now, Rob Reiner, it's just going to be at night on Wednesday night on Turner Classic Movies. But it's 4 of his movies. And Princess Bride is going to be their network premiere. So Princess Bride's never been on TCM before, and it's going to be Stand By Me and When Harry Met Sally and This Is Spinal Tap. So if you haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap, and the new Spinal Tap is also on HBO. So that'll be really good. I'm really getting into Hijacked on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, I just saw that because I just finished the morning show and I saw it, and I love Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
Oh, wow.
Idris Elba forever. And he plays a cynical contract negotiator. And the first season, he was stuck on a plane. Now, the second season, he's stuck on a train. But the thing is, you don't have to watch 1 to enjoy season 2, which is a good thing. And then Shrinking, that's the one with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford, starts Wednesday. So I know a lot of people are really excited about that. Jeff Daniel is going to play Jason Segel's dad.
Oh, nice.
And Candice Bergen's going to show up. And I don't know what role yet, but this will be a good season 3.
Season finale of Landman, by the way, was really good. I didn't think the second season was great. The last episode of season 2, really, Billy Bob just took it over. It was so great.
That's what I hear. Yeah. I hear that because people have had mixed feelings about it too, but they loved the finale.
All right.
So.
If you're not going to be watching some of Lynn's shows, then you could go to the St. Louis Auto Show. It is really an unbelievable event. I've been probably like 10 times. I go look at cars that Monique will not let me buy. But we have 4 tickets to give away. And we'll do a little trivia question. Since the Billikens are 18-1, what is the nickname of their star player, Robbie Avila? He's got about 10 nicknames. If you text in right now, 84126, and give me just one of the nicknames for Robbie Avila, we will give you 4 tickets to the St. Louis Auto Show. Remember, it'll be good weather tonight, maybe okay Saturday early, and then Sunday it'll get rough.
Before we let you go, Lynn, Miller Furniture, what's going on?
Yes. Well, right now they're in between because they just finished their tax-free sale and they'll be gearing up for their half-price sale. So you should go check out why they have good weather. But the beauty of Miller Furniture is you can go online and do your window shopping. So you can go and you can even play with your room, like how you want your room set up and what looks good. So this is a time to get, because the half-price sale will be coming up, you can start visualizing the room you want for your upgrades. So I recommend that. But you will get great customer service if you go to Baldwin, Lake St. Louis, Fairview Heights, and Belleville. So Miller Furniture, American-made furniture, no tariffs, I might add.
Very good stuff, Lynn. Thanks so much. And I also want to remind you guys, if you're sitting home this weekend, you're like, you know what, this is it. I really do have to make a change when it comes to my health. The good news is you don't have to have exercised for a very long time, or maybe you were in really good shape at some point in your life and an injury or other experiences pulled you away from it. 20 Minutes to Fitness has the expertise, the staff, the equipment to meet you wherever you are. And the great news is a lot of us set these goals and we say, now I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to get to the gym every day, 5 days a week. And then we can't keep up with those unrealistic goals. So guess what? We get nowhere. And the beautiful thing about 20 Minutes to Fitness is the research backs it up. In just 20 minutes once a week, you can make a real difference in the muscle mass on your body. And I'm seeing it. I'm getting stronger every single week. And I'm not the one who has to track it, right? The person my trainer who walks around with me and makes sure that my form is good, is operating these highly specialized machines so that I'm doing it right, is the one who's keeping track. And it's a really, really gratifying feeling at age 57 to know that I am getting stronger, which is what, of course, my physician says we all need to be doing in this season of life. I highly recommend that you check it out. Your first session is free. There's no membership. You're not locked down. Give it a shot, and I think you'll realize it's just what you need to get your health back on track in 2026. Locations in both Chesterfield and Clayton. Check them out today.
The University of Missouri-St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
How do you separate estate planning from elder law? You don't, because they're so intertwined. Let's face it, we're all getting older, and you need to make these decisions today, whether it's for your parents, for yourself, or for future generations. Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, and Caroline Stolzer have been navigating these important decisions for more than 50 years. Beck, Lennox, Stolzer, Estate Planning, and Elder Law. Call them 636-946-7899 or beckelderlaw.com. You can thank me later.
Rediscover the timeless classic of The Wizard of Oz as your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs the iconic score live with the 1939 film on the big screen. Join Dorothy and her friends as she follows the yellow brick road to Oz and faces the Wicked Witch of the West. Don't miss this truly Technicolor event, January 30th through February 1st at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Oftentimes we talk about make sure you support local. And of course, you want to support local. And when you support local and you need windows and doors, you call Larry Thornton and Joe Thornton from the Window Store, 314-739-0002. Why? Well, because they support local and you support local, right? And you're supporting your neighbor to make sure the job is done right. They go the extra mile. In fact, somebody called up Larry Thornton the other day looking for new windows. Larry went out to the house and said, "You don't need new windows. These windows are fine. Thank you very much. Call me back some other time." The other reason why you support Larry Thornton at the Window Store, 314-739-0002, is because local companies support charities. And the Window Store is a proud sponsor of the KTRS Radiothon to support Backstoppers. So a local company that'll do it right with great windows and great doors, and they give back to the community and big supporters of Backstoppers. You need windows, you need Window Store, wswindow.net.
St. Louis is home to more than 80,000 University of Missouri St. Louis alumni where they drive the region's economy and contribute to its social and cultural well-being. At UMSL, more is that moves us. Find your more and build more connections at more.umsl.edu.
Want a song?
Surround my mind like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
We've been so focused on what's coming up this weekend weather-wise that we missed that today is a very important national holiday. It is National Pie Day.
Pie Day?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a big fan.
Favorite kind?
Probably, well, Monique's chocolate Toll House pie, but of more
say
famous,
that again.
Her Nestle's chocolate Toll House pie. But if I just go kind of a more standard, I think pecan would be way up there. Apple though,
with ice cream and whipped cream, yeah. I agree 100%. Connor?
I like a blackberry raspberry kind
That's
of pie.
rare
They
and-
call it something else at the store. They combine it together, but it's good.
Where do you get a good blackberry pie?
They have them. They have around the holidays, obviously, but you can go to the local grocery stores and get them.
Do you remember Tippins?
Sure.
Boy, they serious pies.
Yeah, growing up in Iowa, we had Poppin' Fresh pies, and that was kind of our version of Tippins, which was very good.
Okay, wait a minute. Since you have some interesting food things that Connor and I have not understood in the past, here's one that I think that I had that's a little off. It's apple pie with a slice of cheese.
Cheddar cheese, yeah, love it.
Really?
Warm, had to be warm.
Great.
I know.
It just can't be good.
It is so good.
I refuse to try it.
It's so good. I have to. And yes, it's one of those things that if I didn't grow up with it, I might think it's incredibly weird. The sharper the cheddar, the better. But yes, very. Apparently, it's that. Yeah, that's very common in Europe to do a cheese and a fruit together, and so that's where that history.
Italian dessert, actually.
And then you pour a little chili over it, maybe.
No,
and,
no chili and
get
peanut
the
butter.
peanut butter and jelly
Nope,
sandwich
those are all.
involved. Yeah.
Now, you're probably not old enough, but were you here when Schnucks had the station restaurants? Schnucks would have a restaurant in there called the Station.
Sure.
Yeah, they used to have like a hot cinnamon sauce on top of the cheese, on top of the apple pie.
Ooh. That is great. My grandma and then my mom went on to do an incredible version of cherry pie. That was probably my favorite. I would have rather had that than birthday cake every year. And then a French silk pie.
Ooh.
Someplace like the Tippins or those places, they just...
But what about a chocolate pie?
Yeah, but a French silk is better than a chocolate pie, I think. I'm not good at making pies. John's better at it than I am. He has more patience than me. But my daughter Peyton has she made a lemon meringue pie. And
Well,
I
that's
was
not
like,
easy to make.
no. And I said, the spirit of your grandma's coming through. I was very, very impressed. I don't have the patience to really do a homemade pie crust and make it better than
So
what
it's
you can
National
buy.
Pie Day.
National Pie Day. So, Song of the Day today in conjunction with National Pie Day. It really needs no introduction. Mm-hmm. We won't listen to all 8 minutes of the song, but they used to play.
It's almost 9 minutes.
Yeah, they used to play the long version on the radio occasionally. Anyway.
Well, I think there's a radio version that's shorter than the 9, but still pretty long. So yeah.
I'll say this is, I knew I was compatible with Monique because once we asked each other first favorite song of all time, I said this one, and she said absolutely ditto, same thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. Boy, it just was it was unbelievable. I loved it back then. What year was it? I forgot. Let's see.
Well, it was I'm looking at this thing.
You don't mind that the lyrics are complete nonsense?
No,
that's unimportant. Okay.
Well,
1971.
Okay, yeah, because it was supposed to be about this 1959 plane crash.
Parts of it reference that for sure.
Yeah, and well,
what about the other 9 minutes?
Yeah, but I think it's sort of. I mean, isn't it like "We Didn't Start the Fire," the Billy Joel song, where it's just meant to be like, here's sort of covering these iconic things that impacted his life.
But the "We Didn't Start the Fire" is talking about like actual things, or at least things that can be parsed. I feel like there's so much of the American Pie that it's just like, what is that?
Well, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, The Day the Music Died, the plane crash.
That is not that is the obvious part. But there's some stuff in there that just doesn't make any sense.
Personal grief with national events like the assassination of JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., the Vietnam War. Yeah, it's one of those ones that for some reason it really does seem to, if you get it, or if it means something to you, it touches you in ways that's hard to explain to somebody else. I think that's you and Monique's point, right?
Yeah. How popular was it? Let's see. It was actually number 1 in the United States for 4 weeks, starting in 1972. That's a nice run.
Yeah, you guys would have been pretty young when it was.
Yeah, it's like the first time we probably got a record or something, or with those little 45s or. what are those?
But we all knew it, right? It was.
Yeah.
It was. I would have been really little when it came out, but it was certainly. It was around. I think through a lot of the 70s and 80s as well. Anyway, song of the day related to that. Nikki Glazer, St. Louis's own, recent interview. Talked very candidly about her journey to quit both smoking and drinking. And she specifically says that there was a method called the Alan Carr method that was responsible for that happening. Here's what she had to say about that. And I had not heard. Did you? Are you familiar with the Alan Carr method?
I am not.
I was not either. But a lot of people are. I'm sure some of our listeners knew about it. Particularly, it was it for people who had tried a lot of different ways to stop smoking. This method is credited with that. Again, it was the opposite of the we're going to scare you into why it's going to kill you, and it just gets into the understanding, sort of what drives the habit and deconstructs some of that in a logical way. That if you're somebody who is pretty straightforward and likes logical thinking, it seems to work well for people like that.
Yeah. What does Dr. Rick say? I know we've talked to him about this before about like drinks per week. I mean, like. Was 3 or 4 like a max?
Well, and the new guidelines from the health department have changed, and they're not giving any guidelines because it was 1 a day, and I think what I've heard Dr. Rick say on our air is pretty similar to what I heard Dr. Oz say to the country, which is no amount is actually safe or good for you, but if you're going to drink a limited amount, it helps you relax, or there's some social conduct, you just have to limit yourself to not doing it too often. Yeah. But yeah, everybody wants that, like give me an actual, but there's, we all are different and metabolize things differently. Boy, a lot of you weighing in, reminding us that, and Lynn wanted to tell us that too, Tippins are at Deerberg's.
Oh, nice.
So if you really like it, you can get that as well. And then many of you, I got a couple private texts too, that why American Pie was such a big deal. It was the first time sort of in popular culture we'd really talked about the whole Buddy Holly and that whole, because it was such a devastating thing that happened when to have a song that sort of commemorated that. It was a big deal at the time.
Very nice. And then we've got a lot of answers on Robbie Avila's nickname. Everybody going with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We have given away the 4 auto tickets to the auto show. His other nickname is Larry Nerd. So Billikens on TV tonight at 4:30. So St. Bonaventure, Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr.
Okay, give us a tiny little preview. How good are they? How good is St. Bonaventure? Is this going to be a good game?
I think they've only won 1 game in the conference, and they have an interesting situation. Is that Jill? There's a guy. His name is Adrian Wojnarowski. He made, I think, $10 million a year at ESPN as their basketball insider. Nobody was more connected to every GM, every player. He was the king. He decides to leave there and take a job at St. Bonaventure as their GM, as coaches, college coaches now hire GMs to just bring in players. And his salary, I think, is like $150, and I think he lives like in a real small apartment there, or has an extra, apartment there, because he wanted to get off the grind and he also wanted to help out his school. And everybody thought, well, he's going to bring in all this incredible talent. And right now they're off to a rough start. So, but the bottom line is if he's happy doing it and his lifestyle is better, more power to him. But people were shocked that you'd walk away from that much money, this much fame, to become a GM at your alma mater.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it works or if that kind of position helps with the recruiting process. You had on Coach Drink last night I saw him on the early shows on 5 on Your Side, and it seems so unsustainable and so grueling, the amount of after-hours work and the constant nature of, as you said, being a sports agent. And they're really like being a full-time sports agent and trying to coach a program and the public relations side of things and making your current players happy. It's not possible for one human to do what is expected.
The phone just doesn't stop. And when you're talking to your wife about something serious and a potential 21-year-old recruit calls you, honey, hold right there. I got to take this phone call. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, midnight that he got the call, right?
11:45.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. Well, we do recommend you call during business hours and not at midnight. But if you do want to have somebody who is almost like your agent, somebody on your side, particularly when it comes to helping you with taxes and keeping track of all these crazy changes in the tax laws, Jeff Zufall is the guy. He does it in addition to being a wealth advisor, which means he's very good at all the things that wealth advisors are good at. Financial planners, helping you make sure you have enough money when you retire and have a good plan for that. What he brings is that incredible expertise around the tax side of things, which so many others in the business do not have. And that's what makes the big difference for the clients of Capital Advisory Group. They get incredible tax advice. Often they get money back when past returns are looked at that their previous tax advisors missed out on, and they help you keep you from overpaying on your taxes. Of course, Jeff has written a new book. We've talked about it a lot, Keeping What's Yours. It's the most updated version of what's happening out there in new tax laws and how it could benefit your small business and you as an individual as well. You can check it out. But even if you're not somebody who likes to read books about taxes, you just want to make sure that you're getting the best advice. Jeff would love to meet with you, and his team is ready to set an appointment up with you. All you have to do is call 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Snowmageddon.
Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with a First Alert update on what's happening.
Snow apocalypse.
Hi, everybody. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Matt Chambers talking.
Winter wonder hell.
Hey, everybody. It's Kent Earhart with a look at the forecast. It's going to be a pretty...
Blizaster.
Everybody, I'm full-warm meteorologist Kristen Pornett. I want to bring you up to date on the forecast.
Snowzilla. Winter calamity.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your First Alert forecast.
Whatever you call it, the First Alert 4 weather team has you covered. KTRS and the award-winning First Alert 4 weather team is here to keep you informed when inclement weather hits St. Louis. The Big 550, KTRS. Depend on it.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
What happens when your first responder doesn't come home?
I was a widow. How was I going to survive? How were my kids going to survive? Knowing that their husband and their father wasn't coming home.
Fortunately, since 1959, Backstoppers has been there to help.
Backstoppers showed up. They were just ready to embrace me.
Without them, I don't feel like we would have been the family that we are today.
It's the 6th annual KTRS Backstoppers Radiothon, Thursday, January 29. KTRS will salute the tremendous work Backstoppers is doing, and we're asking you to join us in supporting this safety net for first responders in Missouri and Illinois.
They don't forget the fallen, and that means that they don't forget the families.
The KTRS Radiothon to support the Backstoppers is presented in part by Joseph Shearer, licensed financial advisor with W. Schwartz & Company, Gilmish & Sons Heating and Cooling, Lisi Lumber, Mamas on the Hill, Balding Electric, Golden Oak Lending, Sapod GM Country, Overstock Outlet, WS Window and Door, Cutest Funeral Homes, Fielder Electric, Holton Patterson CPAs, and KTRS Cares.
Backstoppers is there for you, now and forever.
The Bommarito Automotive Group has been your number one choice for all your automotive needs for over 51 years. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory online at bommarito.com.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. If you'd like to be a part of the program, you can do so on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. There was something kind of interesting that happened at the Australian Open. And a tennis player, and I'm really not familiar with this tennis player, was asked, her name is Amanda Anisimova. She was asked if what's been happening in the U.S. over the last year complicates her feelings about, playing and representing the United States and the American flag. And she responded, I was born in America, so I'm always proud to represent my country. A lot of us are doing really well. It's great to see a lot of great athletes on the women's side and the men's side. And then he says, just to clarify a little, I mean sort of the context of the last year of everything that's been happening in the U.S., does that complicate that feeling at all? And Amanda says, I don't think that's relevant. And, I'm not so certain a sports reporter covering the Australian Open, I'm not sure that's the angle,
Yeah, I saw that on Fox News, and I know that they were hitting it hard. And I would agree, at least in the segment that I saw, that the attempt was to try to. It was a leading question, no matter how you look at it. But that it happens a fair amount where it's. I feel bad for athletes sometimes because they're sort of damned if they do and damned if they don't, right? If you don't come in hot with a political opinion, people criticize you. But if you do and you happen to be passionate about having a strong feeling about something, then people say, shut up and dribble too. And so I have kind of mixed feelings about the whole thing.
Yeah, here's a little reaction from some of it, some people online. I feel like I need to cancel my subscription to The Athletic, which, by the way, I love. The Athletic, there's action taken for the line of questions. I will cancel my subscription today. I don't know. Probably not. If I'm a reporter and I'm covering this match, that's probably not the line of questioning I would use.
Yeah, I agree. By the same token, it's like it gets politicized by Fox News that it's a thing in the attack, and then if it was on CNN and this person would have come out and said, I'm not happy with what's happening in our country right now, I'm not happy with what I see in Minneapolis, then maybe they would have been glorified on CNN and then castigated on Fox News. And it's more, it speaks a little bit more to this that everything becomes politicized and everything is divided, is designed by the conflict entrepreneurs, which make no doubt about it, social media and the Fox Newses of the world and CNNs are designed to get us to watch by getting us mad and by getting us riled up and turning everything into an us and them argument. And I feel like this was another one of those, but on all parties by both The Athletic and Fox.
All right. Let's see, what else?
Oh, we need to say I'm so excited about, even though it's almost a week away, weekly special next week, Gingham's comfort food mecca in the St. Louis region out in St. Charles. They're big sponsors of our Radiothon, which of course supports Backstoppers. So they're going to be in with us on Thursday, sponsored, of course.
Do you think they do apple pie with the cheese on top?
I don't know about the cheese on top, but pies are a big specialty of theirs because pretty much everything that you love, that your grandma made the best breakfasts ever, the most delicious lunches, I think that's what Games is known for.
Yeah, this menu is actually really sexy. It's great.
There's lots of pictures on the website too, yes. Frank, which I assume is what you're looking at.
They have, let me give you the desserts: cheesecake, turtle cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake, fudge, flat top, half a waffle topped with vanilla ice cream, hot fudge, pecans and whipped cream, Chocolate cream pie, Jill. Lemon meringue pie. Coconut cream pie. Sugar-free pies. Oh, I don't think I'd try those. Scoop of vanilla ice cream. Pecan pie. Oh, here it is. Caramel apple pie. We'll find out if they serve that with cheese. Strawberry cream pie.
I don't think you do caramel apple pie with
probably
cheese. I think it's got to just be, the plain apple pie.
But these pictures of the fried chicken and the pot roast, oh my goodness.
Agree with you completely, Frank, from the 618-314 woke sports reporter with TDS. Somebody else pointing out to us, watching more of the storm coverage, it is a dangerous storm. I think we have to just agree with that. We talked about it a little off the air. Are you worried about this inch of ice they're talking about in Atlanta and some of the places?
They're even like 2 inches of ice.
Really?
Yeah.
So have you ever been in an ice storm like that where,
yes.
Okay, tell me about
Super
that.
Bowl. It was 2000 in late January, early February, where the Rams were playing, and there was an ice storm. It was unbelievable. We were shut down. It was crazy.
And how about you? Have you ever been in an ice storm that you remember, Connor?
I mean, not like that. I mean, it's iced, but I can't. No, nothing like that.
In I want to say it was the March of 1990. I was in college, and in Des Moines, we had an ice storm where it started out as just heavy rain, and then the temperatures dropped. And I can remember looking out of my dorm window and thinking, and looking at a tree and thinking, I've never seen that much accumulated ice on a branch. And next thing we know, the power went out in the dorms and all across campus. For some reason, over on Greek Street, the fraternities and sororities houses, at least some of them still had power. So we all did the intelligent thing, and we just walked over to the fraternity and sorority houses and decided to. We turned it into a very big excuse to party with no classes and no power in the dorms. But it was crazy. I mean, they were grilling hamburgers to try to feed us because for the next day, it was power was out for 6 or 7 days for people. It was crazy.
Yeah, the problem with what we have coming here is it's like the Triple Crown. We're going to have the ice.
I don't think we're going to have ice here in St. Louis.
I thought you said like 1 inch.
No, not in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. St. Louis probably is going to be almost all snow.
Yeah, below us there is going to be a lot.
Well, in Atlanta, it was ice, snow, and then blistering cold. See, like sometimes you can have like a heavy snow totals, and it's like 25, and it's not bad at all. It's kind of cool. But here, if we're going to be wind chills, what Gary discussed, with that snow. Ooh,
that's what they're scared about in Texas. Remember a few years ago when their own power grid system and everything shut down and they were not operational for 2+ weeks. Governor Abbott there has assured everybody there's nothing to worry about and it's going to be fine. I sure hope they're right because it impacted all the rest of us too when they lost power for such a long period of time down there.
So I'm just reading about where I was in 2000. That Super Bowl 34 was nearly canceled due to the ice storm. And the storm's damages was estimated at $1.4 billion. And it caused $48 million in damages. Can you imagine how the NFL picks Georgia, not a bad climate, Georgia Dome, and then this happens?
Yeah.
They don't cancel a lot of games either in the NFL. No. So it takes a lot for that to happen.
Right. Yeah. Do you think they still would have to cancel it today too?
It happened today? Maybe.
Do they care as much about
They're always in domes, so maybe not. They would just play it in the dome.
Do you think things changed when they realized that people could still watch games where there weren't people in the stands because of COVID? Because we had that experience where people weren't actually going to watch some games, but we were still watching the players on the court.
Knowing what they sell for, I think they would want fans in the stand.
I would
for
think
the
so
Super
too.
Bowl.
Because they'd have to give a lot of money back.
Yeah, the next Super Bowl sites, this year it's in Santa Clara. Next year it's in SoFi in Inglewood. And then the next year in 2028, it's going to be back in Atlanta.
So, yeah. Do you have any more Super Bowls in you to cover? Or are you done?
I asked because it's on NBC if I'd be interested. And I said, not if it would affect our budget with covering like spring training and the Billikens and the NCAA tournament. So I kind of politely said, no, let's use our money all local.
What if money were no object? Would you enjoy the process? Yeah. It's cool. From the 314, the other side of it, real Americans don't like what's going on in Minneapolis. As always, we like to hear from you guys on all aspects. We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Running late for work? Look no further than the captain, Captain Paul Kopsky. swashbuckling through your morning commute to get you to work.
And a reminder that the entrance and exit ramps at Page and Lindbergh closed yesterday morning.
Putting his traffic cape on to get you home safely.
One southbound lane of 141 is closed at 64 for road work.
St. Louis strong. KTRS. Depend on it.
I'm Captain Cousin Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Attention KTRS listeners, Appliance Discounters has a deal for you. Shop now and receive an instant 5% rebate off your next appliance purchase. 5% instant savings off their already low prices. And you can receive other factory rebates, some up to $1,500 direct from the manufacturer. Huge savings, locally owned, next day delivery, 18 months interest-free financing. Appliance Discounters with 6 area locations or online at theappliancediscounters.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything will not be cheap.
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Our friend Jeff Drew is a part of a big thing coming up Saturday. It's called Dancing with the Stars at the Ritz at 6 p.m. Saturday night is a go. Please vote online for Katie and Jeff Drew because they are going to be raising money for that incredible organization, the Independence Center. So go online and support the Independence Center in this terrific event.
You know, I really, I think it was fun. We had yesterday in our weekly special, Chris's Steakhouse, and I think it's fun, the restaurants in St. Louis that kind of stand out as the ones that stay open even when in very inclement weather, because they said if people are looking for some place to go and they're willing to venture out, they want to be the place, and they said they can pretty much guarantee that they're going to be open even with if we get the snow they say they're getting.
And maybe
call first.
Yes, but maybe the fact we're getting a little less snow on Saturday and more on Sunday could give the restaurants some chance of having still a respectable Saturday, because that's the big day for most restaurants.
Yeah, I really do hope so. Weekend plans? Well, it got quieter for you because because of the weather, you got knocked off the air on Sunday, right?
Yes. Well, I'm still probably going to go in and do some work, but a lot of football. And then Nate Bargatze tonight.
You imagine you'll be able to go in and do some work?
Yes.
Okay.
I just go to my office and I get stuff done.
You have to drive there, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you on a day like
see.
that when you're not on the air? Can you say I'm just going to be working from home because you could do everything you do there pretty much?
No, not really.
It's not really your nature either. That makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'd rather be in the office with the door shut.
I'd like for you to give us an update Sunday afternoon when you, hey guys, I'm heading in, and give us a time when you actually get there. I'd like to see.
You usually are working here on Sundays, of course, because you've got Animal Talk.
Yeah, we do some shows, and but no, a lot of them are recorded,
So you don't have to do it this week.
We don't have to do it.
Okay, good, because you get to just come home and hopefully not get trapped on your street like you did last year.
Get some plows. Let's get some plows going in the city.
That dreaded Dogtown. Yeah, I can't wait to hear from Dom. Hey, Dad, can you give me a ride? Yeah, okay. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the program. Mr. Carney, Miss Buck coming up next. We'll take a break. We'll be back Monday at 10.
Hey, Heidi Glaus here, inviting you to join me October 24th as we journey in search of Iceland's magical Northern Lights with Colette. We're going to experience the land of fire and ice with a rare opportunity to search for the Northern Lights, one of nature's most dazzling light displays. We'll see steaming lava fields, massive glacier-sculpted mountains and valleys, not to mention thundering waterfalls. We'll travel the Golden Circle and walk on a black volcanic sand beach, plus relax in the warm, mineral-rich water of the Blue Lagoon. This and so much more. Colette handles the details from flights, meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Join me and call our friends at Altair Travel, 314-968-9600, or go to KTRS.com to learn more. That number again, 314-968-9600.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. We offer the largest selection of Amish-made furniture in the St. Louis area, plus quality living room furniture from Flex Steel and Smith